Yes, guys, what's happening? And welcome to the live stream for the FA Cup fourth round and reaction as well. Chelsea got their campaign off to a good start with a 5-1 win at home to Chesterfield yesterday, but there are plenty of shocks as well. We saw Cambridge United dumping out Newcastle. We saw non-league Kidderminster knocking Reading out as well. Also Boreham Wood knocking out AFC Wimbledon. So some non-league sides doing the business there, and a few shocks. And obviously the magic of the cup was back. Joining me to go through some of yesterday's fixtures is Theo from the Shed End podcast. Mate, thank you for joining me. We'll obviously discuss the Chelsea game. We'll get into some of the others as well, and we'll give our quick thoughts on but let's start with yesterday's game. Obviously, I was there. So guys, if you haven't checked out the matchday vlog, please head to the channel and check that out. Theo, we obviously previewed the game on the Friday. The lineup we got a bit wrong. I think most people would have got the same. Were you surprised at just quite how strong Thomas Tuchel went with only one debut?
Yeah, very surprised. I think no one could have expected that starting 11. And Thomas Tuchel said before kickoff that we needed to respect the tie, respect the opponent, respect the cup. And he certainly did. He played a very, very strong starting 11. Very strong back three in a way. The only debutant was Lewis Hall, who actually was fantastic. And then, gradually as I watched the game, I realised that it was actually Hudson-Odoi and Hakim Ziyech as the wing backs. But what really, shocked me the most were the front three: Werner, Pulisic, and Lukaku. All three of those players started. So very strong 11. Maybe he wanted to give some minutes to players that maybe needed goals, the likes of Lukaku, the likes of Werner, like we spoke about in the previous episode. So that made sense. But boy, did he respect the tie. So, yes, very strong 11.
Yeah, no, certainly did. And I think, for Chesterfield, I think they would have been glad, because some of these guys, they're probably never going to play against these players again. So they would have wanted a strong side from Chelsea to play against perhaps some of their heroes, guys they've idolised, people that they thought they would perhaps never play against. So it makes for the day out. It's magic of the cup, as they say. But yeah, I mean, I was a little bit confused at what formation we're going to go with, but it ended up being a 3. And obviously, let's touch on him. Lewis Hall, 17 years of age. I think the youngest Chelsea player to make his debut, and perhaps the youngest man of the match as well. He was really, really good. I mean, watching the game live, he was the standout performer. He looked confident on the ball. He'd step forward. He was involved in a lot of the goals. Really, tenacious play to set up Lukaku. What did you make of him as the whole? And I mean, I was really excited by it. Obviously, it's important not to kind of hype these players up. It is one appearance. It's a non-league side, but it was very promising, and it couldn't have gone much better for him.
Really fantastic performance from Lewis Hall. Really impressive as well. He's only 17, like you mentioned, first time playing in the senior squad at Stamford Bridge, and he looked really composed on the ball. I mean, really, he dealt with pressure quite well, and he played a part in, I think, 3 of the 4 opening goals, which was very impressive as well. And he looked really comfortable in that kind of, left side of the back 3. And I think as well, he could potentially play in a left wing back position if we really needed it at some point this season, which we might, should we not get in a recruit in that position. But no, he was a worthy man of the match for me. And it's so good to see, the likes of Theo, the likes of Javier Simmons, who made their debuts against Brentford, look so composed and, fit into the team so well, which you don't really see in other clubs. These youngsters come in at such a young age and perform from the off. So fair play to the Cobham Academy and for Tuchel for putting his trust in him.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, the game itself, let's be honest, Chesterfield were never going to really cause us any problems. It become very evident, we go 1 up in the first 10 minutes, a tap in for Werner. I suppose good for his confidence, but I thought frustrating performance from him. He just always runs with his head down. He never looks up when he's got the ball. And he's always offside as well. So yes, he did get a goal, but again, another frustrating performance from him. And what did you make of his performance? I mean, I'm not too sure it was actually that great.
I mean, if I'm completely honest, I don't think any of the front 3 in Lukaku, Pulisic, and Werner performed to their level. But Werner, he is that player that we like to, pick up on because we know we want him to do so well, I suppose. And it was a bit of a frustrating performance from him. Like you said, he's playing with his head down. He kind of drifts out of position a lot as well. And that goal he scored, good for his confidence, but he couldn't really miss, could he? He just had to roll it in. But no, I think gradually, if he gets more game time like that, I think he may start in the League Cup against Spurs. I mean, that would be a bigger game for him, a bigger game for his confidence. And you'd really expect him to perform in a game like that when we need the goals and, we need to protect that 2-0 scoreline that we've got. But no, he hasn't played a lot of football in a while. So that's the one, thing I would say to maybe defend him, but we should be doing better.
I mean, what did you make of Lukaku's performance? Yes, he got the goal. I thought at times he looked a bit isolated, and he did miss a couple of opportunities as well. I mean, he perhaps should have got himself a couple of goals. I mean, he looked okay, but again, his level will need to improve for the big games we've got coming up, particularly second leg at Tottenham next week and Manchester City away the following Saturday.
Yeah, the one thing with Lukaku, which he did again against Spurs in the League Cup midweek, was his shooting looks very tame. Almost straight at the goalkeeper, or not even on target at times, which is something he was never doing at Inter or even at Belgium in the Euros, where he was just smashing it in the corner. So he needs to kind of maybe work on his finishing a little better, his composure in front of goal. He missed a lot of chances, but I know that Lukaku's an experienced player. What he can bring to the team, and it was good as well to see the Matthew Harding cheering his name again after all the, what's happened in recent weeks with that interview drama. So I'm glad to see that the Stamford Bridge faithful is backing him and, putting their trust back into him as well.
Yeah, and I think a big plus as well is the fact that having played such a strong lineup, we didn't come away with any injuries. I know Tuchel took off Callum Hudson-Odoi as a precaution with that kind of potential small Achilles issue, but it was very much erring on the side of caution massively there, which I think is fair enough. No point risking it when the game's done and dusted. He arguably scored the goal of the match. I mean, what did you make of that finish? And it's something that we need to see more of from Callum when he plays in the Premier League, because he has got that in his locker, but we just don't see it on a consistent enough basis. And he was speaking after the game saying, he didn't really see any options on for the pass, so he just thought he'd have a shot. We need to see more of that, don't we, from him? Definitely.
I think that was the goal of the game. Really good finish. Perfect height on the ball. Nothing the keeper could do. And I've spoken about this a lot on my podcast. He's a fantastic player, but he does need to work on his decision making in the penalty box and his finishing as well. I think the last time I saw him score such a good goal, it was against Bayern Munich in the Champions League, which ended up being an offside goal. So if he can, work on his finishing and add that to his locker, we've got a fantastic player on our hands. And we have to remember that he's so young and he's still got a lot to improve on. So the fact that we're picking up on this when he's so young is very, good signs. But that goal will do him a lot of confidence, and I hope to see him shoot more, from that, type of angle or that position in future games.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, and it was a fairly routine afternoon for Chelsea. I have to say, I did think Thomas Tuchel used the squad really well. But it's great that we were able to have 5 substitutions as well. It does make a big difference with giving players a rest, particularly with the schedule we've got coming up. And obviously, we'll find out imminently who Chelsea get in the forefront. But before we obviously look ahead to that draw, which is coming up very shortly, as I said, there was a few upsets yesterday, Theo, in the third round of the Cup. Most notably, League One, I believe, or they might even be League Two, Cambridge, going to St James's Park and knocking out Newcastle. I mean, what did you make of that?
It's what we love about the FA Cup, these kind of David and Goliath situations of smaller teams knocking out, the bigger teams, and Newcastle as well, after their recent takeover, any team, even though they're shambolic in form at the moment, beating them feels huge. I know, Trippier, who's played in Champions League finals, played in European semi-finals, he was starting that game. So fair play to Cambridge, and it's what, the neutral fans would love to see. So really good stuff.
I mean, from a Newcastle perspective, though, just how damaging is that? I mean, I know they probably put out a slightly rotated side, but they still had Kieran Trippier, and it still had players that should be more than capable of winning that game, particularly at home as well. I mean, I guess you could look at it slightly cynically and think, well, actually, they just need to concentrate on staying up. So the less distractions they have, the better it is. But it's not good. It's not a good look for the club. And I think Eddie Howe saying afterwards he was devastated that they went out.
Yeah, just for team morale, winning those type of games is big. Having going on a good cup run, you see sometimes, the smaller teams, the likes of Reading and Hull making it to FA Cup semi-finals. And, it's what, it's probably the biggest moments for them in football clubs. So it's a shame from the Newcastle fans. And Eddie Howe, I'm sure, is devastated. But like you mentioned, now all they've got to do is just focus on avoiding the drop and staying up, for the future of the club in a way, because I think it'll be really damaging for them to spend a season in the Championship with all the money that they've invested and will invest into the club.
Yeah, I mean, we also saw a couple of non-league sides, obviously Chesterfield not getting through, but we saw Kidderminster Harriers knocking out Reading and Boreham Wood knocking out AFC Wimbledon as well. Just how great is it for these non-league clubs to, continue their FA Cup journey, make the fourth round, and potentially have a trip to a big club, which will be so important for the future of their club as well, with the amount of money it brings in.
It's amazing. Like I said, it's what the FA Cup is all about. I watched the highlights of those games on YouTube and just seeing the players celebrate, after the game, after the goals in the dressing room. It's fantastic. And even if they get knocked out in the next round, those memories that those players will have from those wins will be amazing. And even if, like you said, if they get to travel to an Anfield or Stamford Bridge and Etihad in the next rounds, then it will be, the best game of the players' lives. Probably they'll never have this, this chance again. So it's definitely what the cup is all about. The magic of the cup for the fans as well. This time last season we were playing in empty stadiums. Just to have these these fans witness those moments in those small stadiums, and maybe in the next round make the trip to the stadiums that I mentioned, is absolutely fantastic. And you probably saw the Chesterfield fans yesterday at Stamford Bridge, 6,000 of them. That's a special moment for them, a really special moment. And they got to celebrate a goal against the European champions. And I think even as us, Chelsea fans, we just had to, applaud that, because it's what we like to see, smaller teams, enjoy those moments, celebrate those moments and take them back home and talk to their kids and grandkids about it. So fair play to them.
Yeah, no, it is great to see. I mean, looking ahead to the fourth one, obviously, not all the games have been played. Arsenal have got to play Nottingham Forest, which kicks off at 5:10, and Man United play Aston Villa tomorrow. Liverpool and Tottenham both making it through. Obviously, both went a goal behind. It's always great to see, obviously Shrewsbury went ahead and the guy done the Ronaldo Sue celebration at Anfield. I mean, loads of players seem to love doing that. And obviously, Morecambe went one up at Spurs as well. And, when you got the away fans of Morecambe chanting "Tottenham get battered everywhere they go," it's always it's always good to see. But unfortunately, those giant killings couldn't quite be pulled off. But looking ahead to the fourth round, Theo, I mean, obviously we can get anyone. We'd like to think we'd avoid like a Man City or a Liverpool or something at this stage, considering there's still 30 odd teams left in the draw. I mean, what would you like to see? Who would you like to see Chelsea get? In the next round, are you looking for a home tie against someone smaller, or are you not really that bothered?
I love a home tie, just because I live around Stamford Bridge, so it's easier for me to get to. But I think that it's played on the first weekend of February. We spoke about it right before we travel to the UAE for the Club World Cup. So I wouldn't mind playing a smaller team, maybe a decent level Championship team or a lower league Premier League team, maybe the likes of maybe a Stoke or Cardiff, who I think qualified, or maybe even I don't know which Premier League teams, maybe a Southampton or something like that. So even in Everton, I'd love to get, revenge on Everton, who are woeful at the moment and who, snatched a point at Stamford Bridge. So those type of teams. But, still a game where you'd expect to kind of advance comfortably with maybe a rotated squad. That's what I'd like to see, but definitely a home tie.
Yeah, I mean, we just need to avoid, I'm not saying that we should be afraid of these sides, but as you said, with the Club World Cup so close to the fourth round dates, you ideally do want perhaps a slightly more favourable time. And obviously, a worst case scenario is going to be like a Liverpool or a Man City away from home. Yes, the sides will be rotated, but you never really want to be facing a big team early doors in the cup. You want to try and get a little bit further. I mean, to be honest, I think we've had quite good runs in the last couple of seasons. We have tended to be quite lucky. I mean, last season, I don't think we really faced anyone decent in the run up to the final, apart from Man City in the semis. I think we had quite a straightforward run. I think
was it Morecambe, Luton,
yeah, Luton and
Sheffield somewhere
United.
in there.
Yeah, that was a three, and then we had perhaps someone else in the quarterfinal, which was also quite easy. And then we obviously went on to City in the semi, which was our hardest team. And you do see it happen. We got quite lucky, I'd say, as well in the Champions League draw last year. Getting Porto, getting Athletic. At the time, Athletic was a tough one, but getting Porto and then being in the favourable side of the thing. But I mean, obviously the fourth round draw is about to commence now. Chelsea will be ball 5. Liverpool will be ball 6. Defending champions Leicester City will be ball number 12. Premier League leaders Manchester City are ball number 20. And anyone else that we should be looking out for? Manchester United ball number 24. Cambridge United ball 26. And Kidderminster Harriers non-league ball number 11. And Boreham Wood are ball number 1. So there's plenty of teams left in there. It's always interesting to see how the draw goes. I think we've got David James doing it. It looks like down there. So obviously won the cup with Portsmouth back in 2008, I think.
8, yeah.
Yeah. So the draw will be getting underway imminently. Obviously, they have to do all that nonsense about how they do it. About you need instructions to pour some balls into box, but that's
it's not as detailed as the Champions League one, at least.
No, at least with this one, you shouldn't really get too many mistakes unless someone's not put the correct balls into the bag before they've done it. But I mean, FA Cup, we touched on it before. This represents another great opportunity for us to win a trophy, doesn't it? And it's one that we should look to take seriously.
Definitely. We spoke about in the previous episode, last 2 seasons, we made the final twice and, fell at the last hurdle. I was at the FA Cup final in May against Leicester. And if I'm completely honest, I was devastated when we lost.
Yeah.
The one thing that gave me a bit of hope is we had the Champions League final, in 2 weeks' time, which I was really hoping to win after that. But when we lose to Leicester, it's kind of you're thinking, how the hell are we going to beat City, after this? So, but no, it would be great to win it this season. And like you said, if you commit to it, if you play, every game as it comes, and you feel a good 11, then you've got every reason, to try and win it. So, if we can go on a good cup run and make the final and this time win it, then it'd be brilliant, for Thomas Tuchel to get more silverware as well.
Okay, so the balls are just being emptied out the bag now. So draw will be getting underway very, very shortly. A London derby wouldn't be bad either, potentially. We've still got Fulham in there, Brentford. We've got Queen's Park Rangers also in there. Okay, so the first ball is going to be drawn out. David James is diving into the bag there. Ball number 18. That is Crystal Palace. So they beat Millwall 2-1 at the Den. They will be at home. And they will play Hartlepool United. So Crystal Palace versus Hartlepool is the first tie. Not exactly the most exciting, that one. Ball number 2 is out next. So Bournemouth will be at home against ball number 1, which is Boreham Wood.
Gary Cahill.
Yeah, so Boreham Wood of non-league get a trip to Championship High Flyers Bournemouth, which is quite nice for them. Ball number 9, so Huddersfield Town. Obviously, Levi Colwell on loan there from Chelsea, having an outstanding season. They will play ball number 27, which is Barnsley. So I believe that's an all-championship affair there. Barnsley getting through 5-4 in a ridiculous game against Barrow. Ball number 28 is the next one out. That is Peterborough United, League One. And they will take on ball number 30, which is Queen's Park Rangers. So then, a lot of these Championship and League One sides seem to be disappearing at the moment, which never bodes too well. Ball number 26, Cambridge United, knocking out Newcastle at St James's Park, as we touched on. They will host a home tie against ball number 22, which is Luton Town. These are poor ties. There's not been a single decent tie out of the bag yet.
Are all the Premier League teams at the bottom of the bag or something?
I don't know, mate. Ball number 4 is out now, Southampton. Southampton will be at home, so St Mary's, and they will play ball number 8. Southampton versus Coventry City. Again, Ian Martin on loan there from Chelsea, so I'll be interested to see how he potentially does against some Premier League opposition, but that's another one. Oh, ball number 5. Chelsea are out. They'll be at home. So a home tie for Chelsea, and they will play ball number 23 at home to Plymouth Argyle. Lovely. Yeah, we take that. We take that. Obviously, we'll get the reaction once the draw is concluded, but a good tie for Chelsea there. Plymouth Argyle at home. Ball number 15, Everton at Goodison Park. They will host ball number 19, which is Brentford. So an all Premier League tie there. Everton just scraping through 3-2 away at Hull City in round 3. Ball number 11 is next. That will be Kidderminster Harriers. So non-league Kidderminster Harriers. This will be interesting for them. They will host a home tie against ball 29, which is West Ham United. That's great for them, a big Premier League team, West Ham against Kidderminster, and it's at home as well for them. That'll be fantastic. Ball 24, Manchester United or Aston Villa, who conclude the third round action tomorrow night. They will have a home tie against ball number 13, which is Middlesbrough. So, not great, really. Ball number 17 is next one out. That'll be Tottenham Hotspur. So Spurs will be home again. I mean, Man City and Liverpool still in the draw.
I wouldn't mind a two top Premier League teams playing each other.
Tottenham against Brighton. So another all Premier League tie. Not the most exciting one there. Ball number 6 is out now. This will be Liverpool. They'll be at Anfield. So this is a home tie for Liverpool. Ball number 20, Manchester City. Ball number 7. Liverpool will host Cardiff City from the Championship. Not that great. Ball number 3 is out. That is Stoke City. I think they beat Luton today. Not Luton, Leyton Orient. I think they beat them 2-0 earlier. Stoke City will have a home tie against Wigan Athletic. I think that's another championship clash, isn't it? Or Wigan might be League One now. I'm not sure.
I've lost track.
Yeah, they're always up and down, aren't they? That's Stoke against Wigan. We've got Nottingham Forest or Arsenal versus ball number 12, which is Leicester City, the defending champion. So the holders Leicester City will face a trip to the City ground, or the Emirates. That could be a tasty tie. That could get through today. That should be a good one. Manchester City get a home draw. Bound to be another easy one for them. Manchester City versus ball number 16, Fulham. Well, I mean, yeah, we can't really moan about easy draws because we had a pretty easy one. And that's the last 2 balls now to conclude the draw. That is ball number 25. Wolverhampton Wanderers, who I think won 3-0 earlier. They will be at home. So Wolves playing at Molineux. And they will face Norwich City, who got a 1-0 win away at Charlton earlier today. And that concludes the draw then. So Theo, your initial reactions, home tie to Plymouth Argyle. Couldn't have really gone too much better, could it?
Yeah, playing a League One team, you think it's pretty straightforward. I said I'd be happy to play with a championship team, but League One's probably even easier. Just checking now, they're 6th in League One, so domestically they're not doing too bad. They beat Birmingham, I think, in the last round, 1-0.
Yeah, they did. I think they were away from home yesterday.
Yeah, and Birmingham had 10 men. But it's an easy tie for us. I'm happy. We should be able to rotate again just before the Club World Cup. And like I said, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we would have wanted. I mean, just a word on some of the other ties. I touched on it briefly. Kidderminster Harriers non-league hosting West Ham United. I mean, how great is that for them? And again, it's another great story that the FA Cup serving up.
That's a good tie. They beat Reading. Was it Reading? I think.
Yeah, Reading 2-1.
And now they're welcoming a Premier League team in West Ham. The likes of Jared Bowen, Declan Rice travelling to their stadium will be fantastic for the fans. So definitely a game to give a watch in the next round. And from a neutral perspective, it's what the FA Cup's all about.
Yeah, and obviously we had Man City at home to Fulham. That's very straightforward for them. Not really too much to say on that one. And Liverpool getting a home tie against Cardiff City as well. So you'd expect, those sides to go through. You probably expect Tottenham to go through against Brighton as well. But arguably the tie of the round, providing Arsenal get through tonight, is them against Leicester. I mean, you'd probably say that's the standout tie in terms of quality.
Yeah, Leicester have been very inconsistent this season, especially against the bigger teams. But in terms of matchups at this stage of the FA Cup, it's probably the biggest one, and you expect Arsenal to beat Nottingham Forest in 10 minutes' time. So it's looking likely it would be an Arsenal-Leicester fixture, which is what we want to see as well. And if one of those 2 teams can get knocked out early on, even better for Chelsea fans.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, those ties, I believe, are to be played on the weekend of the 5th of February. So we'll obviously wait to see if the schedule comes out when Chelsea are playing. I mean, I don't think that game will be picked for TV. I wouldn't have thought so. So it should just be a standard Saturday afternoon, 3:00 you would expect. But given how things have been for us recently with the scheduling, you wouldn't be surprised if they banged it like on the Monday or something, or days closer to when we need to go for the Club World Cup. But let's hope not. But I mean, yeah, I think that seems like a good point to round out. For those of you that missed it, Chelsea will play Plymouth Argyle of League One at Stamford Bridge in the 4th round of the FA Cup. So a great tie. Myself and Theo are happy with that, considering how close it is to travelling out to the Club World Cup. So it'll be an opportunity to rotate the squad again, give some key players a rest, etc. But yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check out Theo's podcast and his socials. Some great stuff on there. I've linked it in the description below. Mate, thank you so much for joining me. Guys, that's the roundup of the FA Cup 4th round draw. So if you tuned in live, thanks for watching. If you're going to watch it back, hope you enjoy it. Please do smash a like on this video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do click that subscribe button. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, just click it. It really helps the channel out. We're continuing to grow this year. So yeah, please do that and continue to support the channel. But yeah, guys, we'll catch you early next week for the Tottenham preview for the second leg of the Carabao Cup. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Cheers, guys.